You know how in a conversation you can make these instant logical leaps without even trying? Well, teaching a machine to do that same thing is one of the biggest hurdles in AI. So in this explainer, we're going to dive into a really fascinating field called natural logic. It's this elegant way to help machines reason, not with some complex code, but with our own words. All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the big puzzle of language itself, then look at two totally different ways scientists have tried to solve it. From there, we'll get into the real nuts and bolts of natural logic. And finally, we'll talk about why this is such a game changer and what it means for the future of AI. So, let's kick things off with a question that really gets to the core of this whole thing. I mean, really think about that for a second. We draw conclusions, we understand implications, and we do it all in a split second. It's like breathing for us. But underneath that effortless surface, there's this incredibly powerful logical engine running that we just take for granted. This is a perfect example, right? If I tell you every poodle is a dog, it is completely obvious to you that every poodle is also an animal. But how does a computer figure that out? How do you teach it that the idea of a poodle is nested inside dog, which itself is nested inside animal? That intuitive leap is a massive, massive challenge for a machine. So, to try and solve this puzzle, researchers have basically gone down two very different roads. One involves a whole lot of heavy translation, and the other tries to work with language just the way it is. Okay, so on one side, you have the heavyweight, modern formal logic. Think of this like taking a simple sentence and translating it into this super complex abstract math equation to strip out any possible ambiguity. It's incredibly precise, but it's also clunky and slow. But on the other side, you've got our focus for today, natural logic. Its goal is pretty much the opposite. It wants to work directly with our sentences as we write and speak them, to build a system that's fast, efficient, and feels a lot more like how our own brains piece things together. So, the big question is, how in the world does natural logic pull this off? How does it reason with our words without all that complicated translation? Let's get into the core mechanics. The magic word is right there in the definition. It operates directly on the surface forms. So instead of changing our language into something else, it's all about finding the logic that's already baked right into our grammar and the way we structure our sentences. And what's really cool is this isn't some brand new idea that came out of nowhere. It actually has deep roots going all the way back to syllogistic logic. We're talking Aristotle. It just takes those ancient ideas and gives them a serious upgrade for the computer age. The whole point is to build something that's not only fast for a computer, but also cognitively adequate, which is just a fancy way of saying it should kind of mirror how we humans actually reason. So how does it do this? Well, one of its main tools has a bit of a technical name, but trust me, the idea behind it is incredibly simple and intuitive. It's basically a system for understanding how words relate to each other, whether one concept is bigger or smaller than another. And this is where it gets really elegant. You start with a fact, something you know is true, all dogs are animals. Then you just take one word, in this case animals, and you swap it for an even broader, bigger category, like living things. And what happens? The new sentence, all dogs are living things, is still true. That simple process of swapping and checking, that's the engine that lets natural logic reason so incredibly well. Okay, so this all might sound a little bit academic, right? But this simple, efficient way of thinking has huge, huge implications for the real world. One of the biggest wins is something that sounds really complex, a decidable validity problem. All that really means is that the system can actually give you a definite yes or no answer when you ask it if something is logical. It doesn't get stuck in a maybe loop forever, which is a problem that plagues those more complex formal logic systems. It's predictable, it's efficient. And that efficiency, that's the real payoff. Because it's so quick and reliable, natural logic lets us build AI systems that can chew through language-based tasks way faster and more accurately than other approaches. And we see the benefits of that speed just about everywhere. We're talking about AI that can instantly tell if a news headline is actually supported by the article. That's textual entailment. It's about building chatbots that actually get what you're asking, or search engines that understand your intent, not just your keywords. All of this stuff relies on a system that can understand language quickly and accurately. Okay, so let's get to our final section here and look at how all of this is pointing us toward the next great frontier for AI. This quote just perfectly sums up the whole spirit of this research. It's not about twisting our language to fit into some rigid mathematical box. It's about realizing there's already a powerful logic built into the way we talk and write, and then figuring out how to tap into it. Ultimately, what this is all about is building a bridge. It's a bridge between the fluid, intuitive way that our brains work and the structured, computational world of machines. And by focusing on the patterns of our own language, we're making that bridge stronger and stronger. And that's really the big thought I want to leave you with. Natural logic is a huge step toward making machines that can finally understand us on our own terms. But as that bridge gets stronger, and as they get better at thinking with our words, what new possibilities and what new profound questions are going to pop up about what intelligence really is?